Welcome to Curiousaholic. My name is Haiko. I'm here with my good buddy Evan.
Hey, Earthlings.
So, before we get into today's topic, here's a quick rundown of how the podcast works. So, in each episode, one of us comes up with an interesting topic that they are curious about and reveals it live to the other person in the hopes to spark a deep discussion and further our knowledge of the world around us. Hello,
Let's hear it.
my Earthling friend.
Hi, Earthling.
Yes. So us two Earthlings today are going to talk about something a bit different. So it isn't a specific topic. So this is a new thing that I'm going to try out in our episode. And if you like it, you can, decide to make it a recurring
Awesome.
thing.
I like that.
It could be, if you don't know of a topic, then maybe you can go.
We could come back to this.
We could come back to this. So this could become, a series if
All right.
Evan likes it. So today's topic, if you will, is, I just called it philosophically deep.
Huh. Oh, I like this. Okay.
You like this?
Yeah, so we would choose topics that go deep dive into like philosophy, I guess.
So let me explain. So I have a few points here. So what will we discuss in this philosophically deep topic? So basically, I've chosen that there will be 4 deep philosophical questions. So these questions, we will answer them together and discuss them. Basically, these questions either come from me or were found somewhere else, maybe online, or maybe I spoke to someone. The purpose is just to find value in different points of views and discover how each of us can see the world differently. And there are no right answers. It's just to see what we can make of them.
This is interesting. I like this idea, actually.
You do?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not a specific topic. It's just, since we are also geared towards philosophy in general, I thought, why not just make, like an episode going through different questions that pique our interest and present us with dilemmas and how can we solve those.
Interesting. I like it.
Right?
Yeah, let's give it a try.
So let's give it a try, and let's start with the first question. That there is one particular thing in there that we have already discussed
All
that
right.
you like quite a bit. So first question. If all the world's suffering could end, poverty, disease, mental illness, etc., but you had to become immortal, would you do it?
Huh.
But let me just point out some things, okay? You will be immortal and nobody else, ever. Nobody can ever kill you. Like, nothing actually can ever kill you. So you're just going to be immortal for life, okay? Everyone on Earth will live a peaceful life full of abundance and without any severe diseases. But they will eventually die just out of natural causes at an old age, peacefully, and that's it. But the whole burden is on you.
So it's like a would you rather question.
A bit, yeah, but it's got a philosophical thing to
Okay.
it. So what do you think?
So either I become immortal, and then people just die like a peaceful death, right?
Yeah, most people will live abundance and would not have any severe illnesses, nothing that is just, tragic.
Okay.
Like, yeah, people might get like sick or colds and whatnot, but it wouldn't be anything life-threatening or
Would they
serious.
live long lives, or would
Yeah,
it be...
most people would live long lives, I guess 80 or plus till 100, but nobody would ever be immortal like you would.
Okay.
You will basically be eternal.
Okay.
So think about that.
Yeah. So what if I decide not to be immortal? What's the caveat there?
Basically, life continues as it is.
Okay, and I die and all those other people die.
Yeah.
Huh.
So basically, will you, I guess, sacrifice yourself? Is
Well,
that even a sacrifice?
It's not really a sacrifice. Huh.
But we have discussed immortality before,
Yeah.
and we
Should I-
did agree that it's not the...
Yeah, should I go back on my stance and say I would like to be immortal?
for the sake of others.
You know what happens when we start talking about immortality,
Yeah, we end up in some dark places. No pun intended.
Yeah. So, oh man, this is a hard question.
This actually, I just came up randomly, so this is kind of for me.
It's good. Okay, you're making me think here. Well, I think I'd be immortal in that case.
Oh, yeah.
If everyone could benefit, I guess, to a certain degree.
So basically, everyone you would know, all the generations of your kids, of your families, I guess you would know all of them, but you will never be able to, yeah,
Yeah,
see them live as long as you. They will
that's
all
true.
die after you. It's like, your wife, it's like you
Yeah.
will go away, but you're still there. Your kids, their kids. It's a tough one mentally still.
Yeah, that's true. Seeing people go away before you.
I guess you'll just be the old wise man that always lives and is always ever present.
Yeah, and is there for generations. Oh man. Well, yeah. I guess I'd have to say I'd be immortal in this case. I don't know why. It just seems like. What about you?
It's a tough one for me as well. I don't know. I haven't been able to answer it myself, but like to think about it now. I mean, I guess.
You'd be immortal too.
I guess, because it's like, it's a lot of people, versus just me. And, if everything could end, and I'm not saying this like in a utopic sense, as if there is no problem at all, like ever, there's no sort of suffering, because people still need suffering, so to speak, in life to be able to grow, right? But I'm just saying nothing that's needless or tragic or unwarranted, no severe diseases, just a pretty good standard of living for most people. So I guess I would also
If I were to like, if that decision would make people, eliminate a lot of their problems, then I guess it's pretty good trade off.
you'll just keep lifting forever.
So keep lifting
Look
forever.
at that. You could reach unimaginable PRs.
Yeah, you could PR until you. I was gonna say you could PR until you die, but you don't.
No, you don't.
So you just PR eternally.
Eternally, yeah. Fuck.
There's no natural limit, just because you're.
I mean, I don't know. I haven't thought, through that, like if your body would be limited, but
Oh yeah, that's another thing that we discussed last time. Like, if you become immortal, do you like start deteriorating over time, and do you suffer? Oh, here's like an addition, like an extra part to your question. So if everyone lives peacefully and they don't have problems, but you're immortal, do those problems get carried on to you in that case? Because if you're immortal, right?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe you might not die.
Yeah.
But let's say you're like 10,000 years old. How would your body feel?
Yeah, I guess I didn't like maybe point that out. Let's assume that, you will be at a healthy body. Maybe let's say you would stay sort of middle-aged and not,
Okay.
you wouldn't continue,
You wouldn't
like
age.
Yeah, basically age, yeah.
Okay.
So you would be immortal at like an adult age and just stay like that, relatively healthy, and that's it.
Yeah, it's a good trade-off.
It's a bit of it's obviously really hypothetical, but so you think you'd be down for it?
I'm down. I'm becoming immortal tomorrow.
I guess you'll just be immortal until the sun explodes.
Not
Which
even
is
at
like
that.
5 billion.
Even when the sun explodes, if you're immortal, you could take that.
Oh, okay. You're even going further than that.
Yeah.
Wait, I don't know. How would that work? You would just float in space.
Yeah. You'd float in space.
So you'll be like
you travel the
unhuman,
galaxy,
basically. Travel the galaxy.
see the intergalactical demons.
Like, hey. Floating in
I'm
space.
immortal.
Yeah, y'all ain't mortal. So yeah, I guess maybe I would. It would be. I don't know how I would be able to do it mentally though. After all that time,
Yeah.
seeing all those people die still, it's tough on you.
Yeah, good point.
But just you, like, how would you keep the meaning of your life?
Yeah, that's kind of what we discussed like that time, right?
You'll go crazy. I mean,
You'd probably go crazy.
you would probably.
You'd probably have to keep it fresh,
Yeah, how would you keep it fresh? How would you keep it challenging all the time? What urgency do you have? You have none.
You have none.
So that's a big thing to deal with.
Yeah.
But I
It's,
guess that's the
a challenge.
sacrifice.
Yeah.
But I guess we'd be down to do it then.
Yeah. We'll be two immortal souls.
But I do think, yeah, some people would say, F that, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, I would understand that point of view also. I mean,
See, so there's no right answer. You know, I don't think someone should be blamed saying, like, oh, you selfish bastard.
you want to live forever.
Yeah. So,
How dare you?
Yeah, or you don't want us to be happy. You don't want us to end, you know, all the suffering. Yeah, it's mostly for the others, right?
Yeah.
Why don't you sacrifice yourself for us? Well, would you do it? That's the question.
I don't know. Yeah, it's a good question.
But I guess, yeah, for now.
For now,
we'll answer yes. All right, so let us pass to the other question.
So it's going to be unrelated, I guess, right?
Yeah, it's unrelated. Okay. Yeah, so it's all kind of different. All right, so since everything we experience is simply a chemical reaction in our brain, how do we distinguish dream from reality? Okay, so this is also another topic that we have covered, dreams, right?
Yeah.
So some points here. By reality, I mean the everyday life that we live after we wake up. And by dream, I mean everything we experience before we wake up.
Okay. So where's the distinction? Like, where do we draw the line between both, I guess?
Well, yeah, like, how do you know when you're in your dream that you're in a dream and it's not reality versus, like, right now? How do I know I'm in real life?
And not in a dream. Okay. Inception.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, but think about it.
Yeah,
everything happens in the brain. It's just chemical reactions. So at the end of the day, how do we distinguish it?
It kind of when I read your question, it kind of reminded me of like a simulation kind of thing.
Yeah, like that can also like a matrix.
Yeah, it kind of ties in. You know, like how do we know if we're
not in a simulation?
Not in a simulation. Do we even have control over our own destiny, or you know,
the simulation decides?
The simulation decides, or the dream decides, you know, where we're headed or something.
Exactly.
That's a good question. I mean, yeah, it's a deep question that a lot of people try to figure out, I guess. It kind of discusses almost like our existence, right? Entirely.
Yeah.
Like, why do we do certain things as like a human species rather than, you know, act another way entirely? It's a deep question. I mean, there's no real way to know whether we're living in a dream or we have control over our own, you know, destiny.
There isn't. Yeah.
There's no real way to figure that out.
Nobody can concretely say, yes, this is reality.
Yeah.
And that's...
Well, hey, like, I mean, I say that, like, we do have a say on our destiny, and, you know, we're not, you know, being manipulated somehow and controlled, and but it's, yeah, there's still like a fine line there. Like, how do we know? It's hard to tell.
It's hard to tell. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's a good question.
So,
and like, yeah, do what we see in real life affect our dreams? Remember when we spoke about that as well? I think
you were mentioning that, how it could have an influence on.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the thing. Like, sometimes when I say that I dream, it feels very real.
Yeah.
And it's like very hard. Like, when I'm in my dream, it's like very scary, and I feel the fear, and then when I wake up, I'm like, oh,
it's over.
Okay,
yeah,
it's over.
Well, hey, listen to this. We last time we discussed, do our activities on a day-to-day basis affect our dreams? But do we think about the other way around? Do our dreams affect our day-to-day basis activities and how we think and perceive reality? Possibly.
Yeah. Because there's a lot that goes in our brain when we're sleeping. A lot of the subconscious that comes out, and
that's true. I don't think we spoke about that last time.
Maybe not. Yeah, but like we're seeing, there isn't a clear-cut way to say this is when you're dreaming and this is when you're, you know.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Maybe those two are more connected than we think. You know what I mean? Like, maybe it's not two distinct things. Like, right now I'm dreaming. Right now I'm awake.
Okay.
Maybe there's like it all kind of ties in together somehow. Maybe right now I'm lucid dreaming. You know?
yeah, that's
kind of what I mean.
Like a really clear
cut
dream. Yeah, it's so what I'm getting at, like, I guess the simulation part, right? Let's say we put someone asleep and plug them somehow, like put them in the Matrix, let's say, right? The Matrix, that's a good movie that explores that
Yeah,
idea.
I really like that movie.
It was
So
pretty
good.
good. Fourth one coming out soon. I
Oh, it's
think,
coming out
yeah,
soon.
next
Wow.
year, I think, yeah.
Awesome. I'm gonna
coming
watch
out.
that for sure. I like that movie.
Definitely. So yeah, like in the Matrix, they're all in that simulation and everything feels real, so they're not able to tell the difference. Like the I don't think the brain has the capacity to really be able to distinguish
Yeah.
if it's in reality. And but then again, this that we call our reality, how do we know still that it is? It's kind of impossible to answer. It's like saying, does God exist? Well, how can I don't know.
Yeah, we'll never know.
We'll never know. But that shouldn't prevent us from living our lives. And
And talking about it on a podcast.
yeah, exactly. The lords are watching us from above and say, oh, these idiots talking
Yeah.
about us.
Maybe we're smarter.
Maybe one day we'll outsmart them.
Yeah. The immortal gods.
We'll go and climb up the fake walls and get out of this twisted
ladder.
show. The Truman Show.
No, I don't know it.
Yeah, you've never seen the
No.
movie? It's Jim Carrey that plays in it.
Oh.
Where basically, like, as a baby orphan, he gets adopted by like a movie studio, and then they create basically this huge movie set.
Oh yeah, I saw this movie. Yes.
And he lives in it, and
He lives in
everyone's
the
an
movie.
actor.
It's a good movie.
It's
Yeah.
pretty deep too. It shows how
I know. I remember the movie now. I've seen it.
you've seen it.
Yeah, a while ago though.
But yeah, the way basically, spoiler alerts if you don't want to hear it, but I'm just saying about the ending is near the end, he's like, on a sailboat and he's trying to get like at the end of where this will bring him. But you see like the people who are controlling his world, they're like, okay, put in a thunderstorm, put in rain to like
Yeah.
stop him from getting to the edge. But he does get to the edge and then he's like climbing a ladder.
Yeah,
And then,
I've seen this movie.
Yeah, so
You reminded me of it.
right, so it's like, how could he know? It's like,
But doesn't he discover at the end that it was like a whole movie set or something?
Yeah.
He does, right?
yeah, he does. Yeah,
I
he gets to
remember
the
now.
end, which is like a wall,
Exactly. Yeah. I remember the
and
movie.
he climbs it.
It's a good movie.
Yeah, it's a good movie. Yeah, he's a pretty good actor too, and so yeah, I guess there isn't really a real way to know, and it's also like that example. I forgot what the Greek philosopher was. It's like a fable of like the slaves who are attached, and behind them there's like a fire that puts the shadows on the wall,
Okay.
and they just see the shadows of the people walking and doing
Yeah,
things,
I've
and
heard
they
of this.
just think that those shadows are real life, whereas they don't know that there's a
Right. Yeah.
whole world behind them. Yeah,
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah.
Um,
So yeah, we'll never know.
we'll never know, but
It's not a great answer to your question, but I mean, it's hard to tell
it's true. It's hard.
the difference between reality and the dream world, for example.
It just shows that everything that we do perceive, it's all right
Yeah.
down here.
It's all in our heads.
It's all in our heads. And maybe by extension to this question is some people even say, well, does the world around me exist if I'm dead?
Huh. Interesting.
Like,
Yeah.
if I can't see you, are you really there? Or are you just there as a...
you can't see me,
Yeah.
John Cena.
Oh. Well, I don't get this meme. It's been everywhere, the whole you can't see me John Cena thing.
Yeah,
Like,
it's that's his
his thing?
shtick,
His
it's
okay.
like he I think he was into like rap, and
Oh.
then like he was trying to make a song or something, and it turned out to be like his intro song,
okay.
and yeah, he started doing that, like you can't see me, and it just stuck with people.
Okay. Yeah, it's been like a joke everywhere. I see those memes. I'm like, I don't really
Yeah, it's
get
an old thing.
the whole thing. Okay, I see. So yeah, basically, if I'm sleeping, are you really there? Or are you just a speck of my imagination?
Yeah,
That too is hard to prove.
exactly. Yeah,
Because I'm not able to be in your head. I can only be in my own head. So not only does everything happen in our brains, but it happens only for us. Like I can't plug myself to you and see how you feel, how you perceive the world. I just know what I see. So yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, so like even when we're dead, is there really like a world around us?
Yeah. I mean, we think, oh, okay, he's dead, but I see the world. Yeah, but maybe
what's
that's
happening
just
in
for
his,
me.
Yeah, what's going on in that dead person's body or head, or I don't know. But again, that's about the afterlife, right?
Oh,
So that's
now we're
it's gonna
delving
be
into
the next topic, right? It's gonna be that next question.
No, it's gonna be quite different.
Okay,
Yeah,
all
it
right.
just kind of jumps around. So yeah, the next topic, I think it was a simple question. Yeah, so this is about beauty and
Okay.
what makes.
So this is the soulmate one.
Yeah, you could say sure. Yeah, when you
We're doing little flashbacks to your old topics here.
little
Yeah.
flashbacks. Yeah. So this question is a simple one, and I think a lot of philosophy people discuss this: is what makes something beautiful. And by beautiful, I mean aesthetics. So not inner beauty or other perceived beauty. Like, you might love someone, but there might not be the standard beauty person in the world, but you love them and you think they're beautiful for you. So that's more of an inner beauty thing. But what I mean here is like universally when people look at a landscape, at a picture or at a face, that's more symmetrical and they're like, wow, that's beautiful. Why is that? What makes this face ugly versus that face beautiful?
I guess it's just how your brain interprets information, right? I mean, it comes back to like those chemical reactions in your brain, right? If you perceive a landscape and the way you receive the information, if you're going to get a different a response in your brain, and depending on that response, it's going to release dopamine.
good feeling chemicals.
Yeah,
okay.
good feeling chemicals.
But why? Okay, so why
endorphins.
looking at her face here or the landscape? Why would you find that beautiful? Like, why wouldn't you find this ugly?
Why wouldn't I find it ugly?
What makes you say this is beautiful?
Yeah, I guess I don't know.
Is it biological? Is it evolutionary? Is it cultural? Is it?
I think it's a mix of all those things. I mean, cultural, I guess, depending on what you grew up to, what people teach you and like what you learn about the world, like you might be attracted to something more than another thing, right? You might go to Italy, for example, just give an example. And all my life, my family, I'm Italian, right? My family's like, wow, Italy's so beautiful. And then you go there, you go there and you're like, wow, Italy's beautiful. Because your whole life, people are grooming you to think it's beautiful.
Okay.
But then if they tell me, oh, don't go to, I'm not going to name a country because I don't want to insult anyone.
Canada.
Yeah, let's attack ourselves. Yeah, Canada's ugly or something. I'm joking about that. Canada's really nice.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll believe that.
You'll start to believe. Yeah. Okay. So I guess there are some cultural conditioning that happens.
Yeah, and evolutionary, I could think of an idea as well. Let's say throughout history, there's a particular place that brings comfort. For example, let's say like a fresh source of water. Where you could easily gather water.
So that's seen as beautiful.
Wow, like an abundance of water, and then maybe over
like
time,
the lake. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Just look at this lake with the mountains around. That could be associated to an abundance and something that provides comfort.
So that's a good thing. Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think of that. So, yeah, evolution I think plays a role.
Yeah.
Where when we seek certain things that give us abundance, comfort, safety, that reduce stress, anxiety.
Exactly.
When there is a light somewhere that's more lit up. If you're looking at a darkness.
I was going to say exactly that. If you go on, continue your point.
Yeah, let's say someone looking at some crooked trees in the darkness, you're not going to say it's beautiful because it's scary.
It's scary and dark, right?
It's scary and dark and unsure. Whereas here on this landscape is open, lit, blue color, there's the water, there's the greenery. I guess because it's evolutionary, we've been in nature. So nature generally is, usually seen as beautiful.
Exactly. it's a good point. Like, you know, like for example, like in the darkness, right? You're not gonna find it beautiful because it's not like super lit up, and you can't see the details,
Yeah.
right? And if you think about like from an evolutionary standpoint, again, in the darkness is where, you know, predators are, and
Yeah.
you know, you could get like attacked. Or so, you know, you're not gonna find that beautiful because over you know, thousands of years, darkness is, and you know, the nighttime is associated to something that's kind of terrifying and scary. So, you know, and usually bad things happen in the night, right? So
Yeah. So that's a good example with the light
Yeah.
aspect. Okay, so here we discussed a bit about like environmental things like nature and landscapes. But what about, let's say, like a person? Yeah. Like what makes us say this face is beautiful versus that face is not as attractive, or, you know?
well, I guess it's that's kind of, it's not that hard to answer, I think. I think because there's certain like body proportions that are associated to health, right? And again, it's a comfort thing. So knowing that, like, let's say your partner is healthy, then that'll provide healthy kids and children. So you're looking for a specific look based on the person's, like, you know, ability to give you children afterwards.
Yeah.
Right. So that's kind of what it is. You're looking for that.
You're looking for that. So there is definitely an
Yeah.
evolutionary aspect to it.
I think that's the strongest component for that.
I think so, yeah. So I think a lot of people who are trying to mate look into each other to see, does this person, you know, look healthy, look all right? His form, does it look
Yeah.
proportional and not weirdly, you know, disproportionate in some way? And I'm not judging people, but it's, you know, it is a reality, right? You know, if you look a certain way, that indicates, you know, disease maybe or unhealthiness, then someone might not necessarily find that beautiful. Yeah, other people might say, no, I still love this person, I find them beautiful, but generally speaking, like a standard, right?
Yeah, we're talking about like physical attraction. So
Yeah, this is physical aesthetic, you know, just
Yeah,
just
like
on the
aesthetic,
outside, not
yeah.
like the personality. Yeah, it's another story. But yeah, I do think there is also a universal standard in terms of like when they say symmetry is more attractive, generally speaking, than, you know, asymmetry.
yeah.
Like famous Leonardo da Vinci, he did the drawing of like that man.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I forgot what the name was of it, but so, you know, he knew back then that there was something with the human form that, you know, attracts us. But I do think there is also a big component culturally.
Yeah.
Okay, because like I've heard, you know, we are used to the human species to look a certain way, but let's say all humans had this long of a chin,
Yeah.
like 3-4 inches chin, but everyone was like that, so it didn't seem weird. Would that be attractive?
if everyone had the same chin, would that be attractive?
Yeah, so if most people's chins were not, you know, short, were like, you know, 3-4 inches long, so
Yeah.
we at least long.
It would be, because that's the standard. Right?
That would be the standard, right? So I guess, you know, when we're looking at someone to see if, I guess, they're beautiful, we're sort of like
Looking for certain traits. Yeah.
yeah, certain traits, and being comparative, saying, okay, do they look off from like the standard that we know?
Exactly.
You know, if they look green and yellowish or some weird color, that's like a signal, right?
It's an intergalactical demon.
Yeah, it's probably some lizard human. Oh, let's not get into that, 'cause that's some other
Oh no.
wears the tinfoil hat.
Lizard man?
Yeah, it's a whole conspiracy, right? You know, they say a lot of politicians or world leaders are lizard people.
Isn't Lizard Man Jim Morrison? That's what I was thinking of.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess he's a famous lizard man. But no, you've never heard, like, you know, saying
Yeah, lizard people.
Obama
I
is
know that.
actually a lizard person, or
Yeah,
all that crap.
I know that.
So yeah, so basically we have a certain standard that we're used to. That's how humans have evolved with the shape that we have. You know, it's like what says that having eyes here and a mouth here is the standard attractiveness and it's objective. that's just how we are. What if our mouth was here and our eyes was down here? If everyone was like that, I guess that would be the standard.
That would be the standard. Yeah.
Yeah. For
Agreed.
us, that would seem really bizarre and not attractive at all because that's not what we're used to. But, you know, if ever we were to meet aliens, right, and they had some sort of population of their own and they look completely different, they would see each other as attractive and see us as the
As
ugly one.
repulsive, yeah.
Like, oh, look at these disgusting
Yeah.
big bicep. So yeah, I think beauty, I don't know, some people might argue that there is objective beauty in nature, in the universe, that some things are beautiful, but I would argue otherwise. I would say beauty is really what is innate to us, to our own evolution. As you said, that brings us comfort, safety, that is what's the word? Relatable.
Relatable.
Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I would say, really.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
interesting. I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, it's subjective to us, right? It's like what we are accustomed to, and what we developed over time, like as the
a species.
standard for beauty, right?
Yeah. I think, yeah, there are some standards to our species, but then there's our individual subjective.
Yeah.
Like, I might find something beautiful, but you might not. So that's our own
Yeah.
thing. Yeah. But most people can agree on certain things looking beautiful in general. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying.
That are like universally is that the word?
Yeah, universally accepted
Beautiful.
standards.
Or yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. So I think we answered that pretty well. And then here, the last question. All right. So, does language shape our thoughts, or our thoughts shape our language? All right, let me give you an example. So let's say, did we love someone before creating the word love, or did we create the word love and then actually loved someone?
Wow, that's deep. I've never thought of that before.
So think of the whole language that we have, right? And language does play a big role in how people act, how people think, how people feel, right? You're feeling something. Oh, you're scared. Oh, I'm scared. You know?
Yeah.
Oh, you're anxious. Oh, that's anxiety. Or, you're jealous. That's jealousy.
Yeah, yeah.
And jealousy is like this. So you start acting like that. Or is it the other way around? It's, your thoughts or your feelings make you develop the language to express that, or is
it vice versa? Yeah. Like,
or is it both?
Yeah. Yeah, that's wow. I never thought of that. It's a pretty deep question. I don't know why when I was reading your question, I was saying, you know how like you could hear, this is gonna sound weird, but you know how like you could hear your own thoughts in your head?
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of that. It's like, why am I speaking English inside my head?
Oh.
You know what I mean? It's like, it's weird.
But it's true.
It's true. It's kind of a little bit like that, right?
Well, yeah. Well, that's a very good point, because how could I say this? It's when you were born and you were feeling some stuff.
Yeah.
Or maybe I guess you were thinking some stuff, but how were you thinking?
Yeah, exactly.
If you hadn't learned a language.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
That's the first thing that came up to my head.
But that's a good aspect. That's a good,
Yeah.
really, really good point of it, because when we were babies, that's when the language is taught to us.
Yeah, exactly.
And then does that language then shape the way we start thinking? Oh, because we learned this word and this word means that, so I'm going to start thinking that way. But maybe I wasn't. Or...
Yeah. And if you think about how like babies and newborns, like let's say they start crying, right? Like, are they crying for like a valid reason? Like, do they know why they're crying? No, they don't, because they don't have like a language, and they don't have like reason to tell them, hey, why I'm crying is kind of useless, right? Kind of thing.
Okay.
But when they start developing, like, and then they start being able to reason and talk to themselves, then they're like,
So
oh,
it's
there's
like-
no point crying, right?
They're giving like themselves explanations, or
Yeah.
yeah. So I guess when you're born, you're mostly instinctual. I guess like an animal.
Exactly. And like you can't control your emotions. Now we're coming back to another topic, right? Like we spoke about, I think, in the ego, right?
Yeah.
We spoke about this too. Like
Okay. Your ego.
yeah, it's just like when you're a baby, you're egoless or something. But
No, I would say it's actually the opposite. You got a lot of ego. It's just your ego, really.
I don't know. I debate
well,
that.
Uh,
It's hard to tell.
yeah,
Are
yeah,
you
I mean-
egoless or are you filled with ego when you're a baby?
well, yeah, because I mean, the baby is just thinking about him or herself. It's just me, 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 me. My
Yeah.
needs. I want to eat. I want to
But
poop.
wouldn't that be the id thing that we discussed? Like the
Yeah, but I think-
instinctual aspect of your being that just is and acts based upon nothing, right? It's not really the ego that's saying I want this, right? The baby's just there and thinking and not. It's not even thinking.
Okay. I
right?
guess, yeah. You mean like it doesn't have an identity? Like,
Yeah,
I'm
it's
just.
I'm this person and I deserve to have this breast milk.
Okay, it's just being instinctual and.
Yeah. And it
Okay.
doesn't have language and guidance to say, what it actually needs and what it doesn't need, kind of thing,
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I get your point there. So yeah, maybe not. I guess we're getting into semantics there, but so it's just like a biological machine. I need to eat. I need to sleep.
Yeah. So those are the primal needs, which is the id, right?
Yeah.
I remember we discussed about
So
that.
the inner, yeah. I think they also say it's like the lizard brain or something. I
Yeah,
think
like
it comes like
exactly.
the evolution.
Part of the brain, yeah, like a baby doesn't have the frontal cortex super developed, so the other parts of the brain take over,
The
right?
amygdala and what else? Yeah, it's like at the center of your brain. So yeah, so basically, yeah, so when you're a child, a newborn baby, you just have your instincts pushing you to do things and wanting things and maybe feeling things, but you still don't have any ways to define them or express them. But once you start, and this is, my opinion is once you start learning language, your language does in certain ways influence
Yeah,
the way you think, the way you see the world, the way you feel even.
exactly. It's like it's a weird mechanism because like it's almost like you're talking to yourself afterwards, right? Because
Yeah,
you hear this voice in your head
Yeah.
that's your own voice,
Hmm.
and you even hear it in your physical voice.
Yeah.
You
I don't necessarily hear myself like that, but yeah, I guess, yeah, I do talk to myself.
Yeah, I don't know. I hear it in my own voice.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's just me. Yeah, I'm not hearing voices. Don't worry.
Call the cops.
But yeah, like it's weird. It's like, for example, a baby would only start understanding his needs when he gets, basic knowledge of languages. After that, before that, he wouldn't be able to pinpoint what he wants or how life is supposed to be.
So it's like a tool that helps him
Yeah.
navigate his feelings and thoughts. Yeah.
It's kind of weird. Now that I think about it, language is like what connects the id to the ego. Because without language, you're basically egoless, right? You're just the id. And then once you understand language, then your ego kind of ties into your identity, right?
Okay.
So that's kind of how I look at it.
Oh, okay.
And without
That's an interesting
language,
connection.
you wouldn't be able to make like a connection between those at all.
So, because like I don't know if you've heard some stories of these kids being abandoned in nature and then being raised by animals.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard.
Yeah,
like Tarzan, for
yeah,
example, is
basically
a Disney.
Tarzan,
But they are real life Tarzan people, and they never learn any language and they act like animals. So, would they then be egoless? So if you're saying, yeah, they don't have a language, or they egoless? I mean, yeah. So then, are animals egoless?
Yeah.
By extension.
It's a hard question.
Yeah. What
They might-
defines an ego?
They might not be fully egoless, I guess. But I don't think they're driven by ego kind of thing. They have like an instinctual ego almost. Like for example here,
Okay.
let's say there's two tribes of of two different packs of animals, of wolves,
Yeah.
fighting over the same food, which let's say deer, right? Their instinctual ego kind of wants them to get the food before the other pack, right?
Okay.
So would that make them egoless? I don't think so.
Yeah. I think because we need to like define the ego as
Yeah.
in-
See again, it's so hard to like
it's tough.
draw
like,
a baseline.
I mean, the ego, I think it has to do with your identity, really. I would say,
Well,
like you.
not really. It's an attachment to your identity.
Okay.
So your identity is the id, right? I know we're going back to this again. The ego is like an attachment to your id that kind of helps you manifest your true self. That's what the ego is.
Okay.
So are animals egoless? To a certain degree, I would say. Not fully.
Or maybe some are and some aren't.
Exactly. Depends the species, maybe.
Depends,
Like,
yeah.
there are plants, right?
Like ants, are they egoless?
Probably not.
You don't think they're egoless?
Probably not. No. If you compare a plant to an
Okay, but
ant,
a plant, I mean, yeah.
but that's the thing, right? A plant just
doesn't have a brain.
it's not like, hey, you're getting more sun than me, Actually, no, but seriously, I know we're going down like a rabbit hole right now, but you know how like some plants actually grow in certain ways to gather more light and stuff.
Yeah, but
like,
that I think is more like ingrained in the plant's biology. Yeah, no pun intended. No, yeah, I just think that's just the way biologically the plant is made, that it gravitates towards more light. I'm not sure if it necessarily means the plant has an
don't know.
ego. That's
Imagine.
hilarious. Hey, yo, why you getting more sun than I do? Don't take me out.
I know, I was bringing it to an extreme example, but yeah, if you were to compare plants to ants, let's say, I think ants have more of an ego than plants.
Yeah, vegans, why are you eating plants? They got egos, got identities, equal
it's true.
rights
That's
for plants.
Yeah, that's the whole reason to not eat
Not eat
animal
plants.
products. Yeah.
But
We went down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, so let's just backtrack here. Okay, so what were we saying? So yeah, you were saying there's a connection between learning a language and then having an ego.
Yeah.
Okay, but animals don't learn languages.
Yeah, but I think they have, I think everyone has some type of ego at least ingrained in them. Like you said, let's say a baby, I don't think it's completely egoless.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah,
because I've heard,
think so.
like baby psychologists, like pediatricians saying like the baby is just his ego. I mean, because that's the thing. We need to define what we mean by ego. You're saying no, it's just the id. It's not the ego yet, but
Yeah, maybe you're probably born with some type of ego, at least a little bit, right?
yeah. Maybe the ego isn't defined. Maybe the ego doesn't have the name Evan, let's say, and it's not.
Yeah.
But I do think that every human born has an ego. Maybe it's just not defined yet by a language.
Yeah, exactly. But
Because
definitely, I think language does help you express your
Develop.
ego
yeah,
further.
I think that maybe better explains it.
Yeah.
Like language gives you a name, gives you some identity. This is who you are. You're an Italian. You're born here. You're this. and-
Exactly. Yeah.
so then your ego dresses up.
Yeah. It's exactly. It dresses up who you are.
You're born a naked ego,
Yeah. Exactly.
basically. So, yeah. So to come around and answer this question, does language shape our thoughts, or our thoughts shape our language? I would say it's pretty much both.
Yeah, both ways.
both ways, and we need to just be careful of how the language that we speak influences the way we think, you know, kind of to make another point with like political correctness or certain words being censored, or you're not allowed to say this, you're allowed to say that. So it's shaping your thoughts.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
you can go through a whole, you know, different world of like, you know, the 1984 book of like
Yeah.
double speak and all that, but it's another
Good book.
time. Yeah, really, really good book on that. So yeah, so those were pretty much it. The 4 philosophically deep questions that I chose, and yeah, I guess we can wrap it up now with any closing thoughts on maybe any of the questions.
Well, my closing thoughts were the questions you chose ended up tying in so much to our other podcast. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, it wasn't intentional, but
Yeah.
I guess it was bound to.
Well, I guess because, you know, not to brag or anything, I'm just saying, like, you know, the topics that we do talk about on this podcast, they're very, you know, connected to everyday life, right? And we were able to tie those questions back to something we've already discussed because, you know, those topics are so broad and they encompass so many things that those were kind of like sub branches of those bigger topics that we've discussed before.
I think so too. Yeah, like yeah, a lot of the topics so far are pretty general and
Yeah.
that apply to a lot of people. So a lot of people can relate to it. I guess then the questions.
That's why you should watch our podcast.
Yeah, do it. We're pretty cool guys.
Yeah, you gotta watch us.
Yeah, so I guess just to wrap it up, so this wasn't any specific topic. It was different questions, and I think if you're down for it, this could become a series. So this could
Yeah,
be
I like it. I'm down
part
for it.
1, and
I could come up with some
so
some good stuff too.
yeah. So and there's no limit to this. It doesn't have to be like too broad. It can be about society and culture, about the arts, about music, about
Yeah, for sure.
anything that makes you go, you know, and creates dilemmas or would you rather situations.
Perfect. Yeah.
Not a silly would you rather have chocolate or vanilla.
Yeah. Something that makes you question your life.
Yeah, question your life or the life that we all lead and just that we take for granted and never question.
Yeah.
So.
I'm all down for it. It's a good idea.
So okay, so maybe you guys might be seeing this another time again. But yeah, so we can wrap it up. So yeah, thank you guys for watching this episode. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel, leave a comment, like if you did like the video. We release an episode every single week. We try. More or less, but we are trying our best. I think we'll try to get back into the groove now that summer's over. It's a busy
party time's over.
Busy season. Yeah, so we also stream on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all the big places. Yeah, and Stitcher.
Almost forgot Stitcher.
I don't know why you always have to mention Stitcher. Yeah, if you listen on Stitcher, go ahead. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And we'll catch you guys next time.
Yep. All right, play us out. It was a good episode.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye, guys.